Hello everyone! In this video, you'll find a full breakdown of all the secret facts from Update 34.0. I've gathered the creepiest, most unusual, and hidden elements you can find on the ocean map. Some of them seriously change how you look at the game. If you want to know every secret and miss nothing, watch until the very end. Hello everyone, and if you're watching this video right now, it means you really were at the right time and in the right place, because today we're going to sort out the strangest, most frightening, and most mysterious secrets of the new Update 34.0 in Melon Playground. And to be honest, the longer I explored the ocean, the more I had a feeling that this map was not as simple as it seemed at first glance, and that the developers had clearly hidden a lot more in it than we see now. This video needs to be watched to the very end, because every next fact will become more creepy and strange, and at the end I will share a theory that can completely change your understanding of the endless ocean map. And perhaps after that you will never be able to look at the ocean in Melon Playground the same way as before. So make yourself comfortable, like it if you like secrets and riddles, and let's get started without further ado. The first and most obvious, but at the same time the most important secret is related to the ocean map itself, because the more time you spend on the endless ocean map, the more you start to notice that it looks too strange for an ordinary underwater map. If you look closely at your surroundings, especially as you descend deeper and deeper, you begin to see a huge amount of debris that does not look like natural shapes at all. These are not just stones or rocks. These are structures with smooth edges, right angles, platforms, walls, and columns that look like it was built once. At some point, I had a strong feeling that there had never been an ocean here before, but there was a huge city full of life, buildings and streets, but then something happened to it, and it completely went underwater. And the deeper you go, the more such debris becomes, as if the upper layers of the ocean are just water and scenery, and the real story is hidden below, where it is dark and scary. It's very similar to real life, because in our world the ocean has only been explored by a couple of percent, and no one knows exactly what lies at the bottom of it. And Melon Playground conveys this feeling of the unknown very coolly. Write in the comments, have you noticed these strange ruins too, or did it seem to you that it was just an ordinary background? And now the second secret that really bothered me personally, because this is no longer just debris, but a specific structure, and now you are just seeing the image that I took while exploring the map. When I was floating on the ocean floor, amidst the darkness and fog, I noticed a strange structure that looked like a huge platform with columns. And in the center of this structure was a gray object that strongly resembles a monument to Melon, or some kind of statue. I've been looking at this place for a long time, and to be honest, I didn't fully understand what it was, but it looks as suspicious as possible because it stands out too much against the background of the entire map. Firstly, this structure looks too symmetrical. Secondly, the object in the center is clearly placed there intentionally, not accidentally. And thirdly, it feels like it has a meaning around this place. There is a theory that this may be either a monument to the ancient Melons who once lived in this city, or a memorial after some disaster that led to the flooding of the entire map. And the most interesting thing is that such objects are usually not added just as decorations, especially on this scale. So I have a feeling that in future updates this place may become an important point, perhaps an interactive secret event, or even an achievement will be added there. The third secret is the craziest of all, because if it's real, then it could be the first hidden way to get coins directly on the endless ocean map. And it wasn't me who found this secret, but one of my subscribers. He wrote to me that while exploring the ocean, he allegedly came across a sunken chest, which at first looked like an ordinary decoration, but after he clicked on it several times, the number of coins on his account increased. It sounds, of course, very strange, and even unrealistic, and I'll be honest right away, I haven't been able to find this chest myself yet, no matter how much I searched, but the ocean is huge. And there is still a chance that such a secret really exists. Perhaps this is a very rare spawn, perhaps a bug, or perhaps a hidden test from the developers, which is not yet available to all players. If this chest really exists, it may mean that Melon Playground has started adding real hidden rewards for exploring maps, and this is a very important moment for the future of the game. So if you suddenly find something similar, be sure to write about it in the comments, because together we can figure out if it's true or not. If you really stop now, exhale, and look at Update 34.0 in its entirety, it becomes clear that this update is not at all about adding a map and forgetting. Endless ocean feels like a foundation, like a billet for something much bigger than we are seeing right now. This is the rare case when a map looks intentionally large, empty in places, and even a little scary, and this is its main strength. The developers clearly didn't make it just for the sake of beauty. It was created in such a way that over time it would be filled with new meanings, objects, and mechanics. And all the secrets that we've sorted out today fit perfectly into this idea. The theory that there used to be a city in the place of the ocean seems more and more logical the more time you spend on the map. Fragments of buildings, strange structures, fragments of walls and shapes that do not look natural create a sense of a destroyed civilization. These are not just random decorations, but elements that seem to be specially placed so that the player starts asking questions. Why are they here? What happened? Why was it all underwater? And most importantly, why did the developers decide to show it right now, exactly in this form, without explaining anything directly? It feels like we've only been given the first page of the story, and everything else is yet to come. A strange structure with a gray object that looks like a monument or statue of Melon deserves special attention. It looks too unusual to be an ordinary decoration. Such things always catch the eye because they stand out from the overall visual style of the map. It seems like it's some kind of iconic place, perhaps a remnant of an ancient complex, laboratory, or even a symbol of something important to the world of the game. And the most interesting thing is that the game does not explain what it is in any way, leaving room for imagination. It is these elements that usually become the key points of lore in the future, when developers begin to gradually reveal the history of the world. The story of the chest and coins, even if it turns out to be unconfirmed, also fits perfectly into the endless ocean concept. The very fact that players are starting to search for hidden objects, share their findings, and experiment already suggests that the map works exactly as intended. The ocean is huge, dark, and poorly explored, and it is logical to assume that rare or unique things may be hidden in it. Perhaps these are just rumors now, but very often it is with such rumors that real discoveries begin. And it's possible that in the future, developers will actually add hidden rewards, achievements, or events related to the depths of the ocean. The most important feeling from the 34.0 update is the feeling of the unknown. Melon Playground used to be more of a sandbox without a story, where you just experiment. Now there is a feeling of a world that has a past, secrets, and understatement. The deeper you dive, the more intense the tension becomes. The darker the water, the stranger the surroundings, the darker the atmosphere. It's almost like exploring a restricted area where you don't know what you're going to see next. And this feeling is very catchy, especially when you realize that you see only a small part of what may appear later. Logically speaking, many of the new mechanics in 34.0 look like preparations for future updates. Depth and pressure sensors, underwater rooms with air, sealed connections, all these are too complex systems to exist just for one version. They look like a base for future underwater stations, laboratories, missions, or even emergency situations. Perhaps later there will be areas where it will be impossible to survive without the right equipment, or events related to depressurization, breakdowns, and survival at depth. And if this is true, then Endless Ocean will be the central map of the game for a long time. In the end, one thing can be said. Update 34.0 is the moment when Melon Playground began to change. From a simple game for experimentation, it gradually turns into a more thoughtful, large-scale world with atmosphere, secrets, and history. That's why this update has hooked players so much and sparked so many theories. And I personally have a feeling that in a year's time we will remember this update as the starting point from which the biggest and most interesting chapter in the history of the game began. If the developers continue to develop the ocean in this direction, something really grand awaits us, and all the fun is just beginning here. Hello everyone, today's video will be different. I'm not analyzing someone's frame or rumors. I'll show you from my own gameplay a real Easter egg that I found in Endless Ocean. Rows of sunken melons in armor, a dilapidated monument, or guards of an unknown settlement surrounded by debris of buildings and columns, and right in this installation you can notice one special element, a gray melon, which is almost a legend for many players. I say right away, this is not a montage, not fan art, it's really present in the game, and today we will analyze together, step by step, what this might mean, what hypotheses suggest and mechanics, and how you can try to reproduce or find additional clues. The first thing that is important to understand is that these rows of figures look the same, like statues in armor placed in rows. This is not chaotic garbage, but a composition that directly hints at a ritual, mass protection, or memorial. There are remnants of buildings, arches, partitions, and destroyed blocks all around. Everything indicates that a city once stood here, possibly an underwater citadel, and that something went wrong. All this context looks organically in the frame. Silt, algae, corals on armor, dim light, a lanternfish swimming by is not just an object. It's a scene that the developer could intentionally place to raise questions and suggest that we have a fragment of the history of the world. Now the main thing is why Gray Melon is here and why it is important. According to rumors and game folklore, Gray Melon appears with an incredibly low chance when regular melon is spawned, and for many players it symbolizes real rarity if Gray Melon really stands in the center of this composition. Then this is a direct hint from the creator about the hidden meaning. The locations may be a clear invitation to investigate by those who know the legend. Next, I'll tell you the specific hypotheses and tests that we'll do in gameplay today. The first hypothesis is depth and pressure. The update introduced the mechanics of the depth sensor, and it is likely that when a certain range is reached, additional map elements will be loaded. We will try to linger at different pressure levels, recording changes and comparing the visibility of objects. The second hypothesis is time and static. If you catch the player in place for a long time or leave the NPC object motionless in the monument area, the map can react. How many hidden mechanics are tied to timers? The third hypothesis is the order and activators. Perhaps, in order to activate something, you need to walk around the monument along a certain route, turn on off the lights, or place objects in a specific sequence. The fourth hypothesis is interaction with a specific instance of Gray Melon. If you can place or imitate Gray Melon among the bronze figures, it may be the key. The fifth is external triggers like a marine lanternfish. An aggressive fish with a lantern is visible in the frame, and perhaps it itself is an indicator of lighting, and its position or presence affects visual cues. In my gameplay, I will go through all these steps. First, I will show the exact coordinates and appearance of the monument. Then I will experiment with depth, time, light sources, and NPCs. All actions will be recorded and shown in detail so that you can repeat the tests if you want. In addition to technical experiments, let's come up with plot explanations of why these melons ended up in armor on the ocean floor and what role they could play. Theory number 1 is the defenders of the city. The armor built in formation hints at guards, soldiers who may have tried to contain the disaster and died in an attempt to save their population. The monument may have been created as a reminder or as a last effort to hold off a hostile force. Theory number 2, ritual mass. Perhaps the armor is not military armor, but the ritual costumes in which the melons performed the ceremony, and when the ritual went wrong, the last keepers were buried in the ranks. Theory number 3 is experimental technology. The armor could have been a prototype of underwater suits used by residents to work under pressure, and a massive malfunction or destruction of the station caused a disaster. The armor remained as evidence of a technological failure. Theory number 4 is markers for hidden mechanics. Bronze figures are not people, but peculiar keys. If you find several such monuments on the map and count them in the right order, an invisible channel or achievement opens. During the video, we will also analyze visual cues. Signs on helmets, the design of armor, the location of debris around. All this may contain encrypted information. Pay attention to the same elements, repeating patterns, and places where the armor is damaged. They can be signals. Another area is ant and the connection with the already existing elements of the game. We have mentions of sunken settlements, legends about giant creatures, and about strange artifacts that players have found in past updates. Perhaps the developer is building a single story where these bronze melons are part of a larger civilization that he will deploy in future updates. And yes, screenwriters sometimes leave stubs, large objects that are not active now, but will become the mainstay for the storyline later. And if this is the case, our task is to notice them earlier and understand the author's logic. To keep the intrigue alive and give you specific steps for self-verification, here's a checklist of actions that I'll follow in the video and that you can repeat. 1. Document the exact coordinates of the monument and photograph it from all angles to measure the depth and pressure in different positions around the monument. 3. Take a series of long pauses at each point, 5, 10, 20 minutes, recording what is happening. Change the lighting of the submarine and the direction of the lanterns to find hidden reflections or shadows. 5. Place and remove objects next to the bronze figures, NPCs, melons, models, checking the reaction. 6. Try to reproduce the presence of a gray melon or a maximally similar object in the center of the composition. 7. Compare the behavior of the object at different speeds and at different frame rates. Sometimes the loading depends on this. Now comes the most emotional moment. What if this is really part of the Finally a Gray One achievement or some other secret award? Imagine that you manage to activate an invisible trigger and you get not just points, but a unique achievement that confirms that you are one of those who first solved the mystery. It will not just be winning the game. It will be a piece of history that you can tell your friends and followers. I understand that all these assumptions sound like a conspiracy theory, but this is how the best gaming legends are created. First observation, then experiment, then proof. And if you want to help, join us. Record your attempts, share screenshots and coordinates, timestamp, and send recordings. I will collect all the data in a separate document, and in the next video, we will analyze what happened. At the end of today's video, I will show you footage of my long-term test, comments on each step, and the first results, whether there have been any changes, additional details, or whether the behavior of the fish, the lights, or the structure itself has changed. And if we are lucky, we will be able to make the first joint report for the developer with a request to explain or supplement the found lore. This concludes the introductory part. The gameplay continues, where I will show each check in real time. But before I start, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and save this video, because if we find even a small thread of truth, it will become the primary source of a huge theory, and, possibly, a new legend for Melon. Playground.